Hi everyone, I'm Meredith and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, I'm so excited that you found me, and if you're returning, I'm so grateful you've decided to come back and watch more. I love all things luxury. I love luxury shoes, I love luxury handbags, luxury lifestyle and vlogging, and if they're things that appeal to you, I hope you'll do me a massive favor and hit that subscribe button down below. Hitting that subscribe button costs you absolutely nothing and means so much to me, so I hope you'll help me out. Today, I wanted to do a video around collecting versus hoarding. So, I love being on YouTube. I've really enjoyed my journey on YouTube to date, and I have this fabulous tribe of amazing people around me who are like-minded, who have collections also, and we really enjoy each other as people. So, most certainly, YouTube has given me that, and I am incredibly grateful for it. With that and putting your life out on the internet, you often have people who want to tell you that what you are doing is wrong, or they want to nitpick about things. And I have a whole range of things that people like to tell me about myself. They like to tell me that I must be mentally unwell to have this many things. They like to point out that no one can use everything that I have. They like to tell me that no one could afford everything I have. So I've got, you know, a few people out there who like to tell me I'm doing the wrong thing, and that's fine. I knew going into YouTube that it wasn't going to be all picnics and rainbows, that people were going to have opinions and they were going to feel like they could express those opinions based on the snippets of my life that they see here that I put out without actually knowing me, and that's all fine. But the one I get most often is that people like to call me a hoarder, a high-end hoarder, a luxury hoarder, a hoarder in general. And I maintain that I am a collector. So I thought I'd do a video around the difference between a hoarder and a collector, and actually talk to you guys at length about why I am a collector and not a hoarder, and the difference between those two things, so that there might be some education out there on this. And the amount of money someone spends on something doesn't make it any less of a collection than anything else. So I feel like a lot of the time the judgment comes from the amount of money I'm spending, but they're not seeing the big picture. So let's start with some definitions of hoarder versus collector. So the NHS, which is, you know, the medical, it's the hospital system for the UK. So they say a hoarding disorder is where someone acquires an excessive number of items and stores them in a chaotic manner, usually resulting in unmanageable amounts of clutter. That's what they define as a hoarding disorder. So, as opposed to what a collector is. So, I asked the internet, I asked Google, what is the difference between a hoarder and a collector? So I've been taken to a hoarder's website that specializes in hoarders, and this is the difference. Collectors will generally have a designated area to store and display their things. Hoarders, on the other hand, can block off entire rooms of their house with the size of their collection, causing them to be anywhere from unsafe to completely unusable. So that's the difference between a collector and a hoarder. And I've also got a definition on compulsive hoarding. So a persistent difficulty discarding or parting with possessions because of a perceived need to save them. So that's what compulsive hoarding is. So on these definitions alone, I will say with absolute certainty that I am not a hoarder, I am a collector. If you have watched my bag room tour, and I will link it down below in case you have not, my collection is incredibly organized. When you walk into my room, everything has a place. Everything is stored in a very specific way, right down to the SLGs and the shoes. I don't have enough shoe racks in the moment, and I've got some shoes on the floor, and that is driving me insane. I need more shoe racks, and I know it, but it drives me insane that that is not organized. Every bag in my room, every scarf on a hanger, every coat on a coat hanger, every shoe, every SLG has a place in my room. So it is not hoarding based on that alone, because my collection is organized, because my collection means so much to me. I take care of it in the environment in which it is stored. It is a collection. It is not hoarding. If I were hoarding, things would be everywhere. There would be no rhyme or reason. And hoarders tend to not stick to a category. Hoarders will hoard pretty much anything, really. So they will pick up a newspaper and they will not be able to throw that newspaper out. That newspaper doesn't have any emotional attachment to them. It's not important to them, but they have a disorder that doesn't allow them to be able to part with that newspaper, even though it means nothing to them. They need to keep it. They keep lolly wrappers. They keep everything because their disorder doesn't allow them to distinguish usable items from items that they don't need anymore. They need to keep everything. They find it very difficult to part with anything whatsoever. And the mere throwing out of that newspaper causes them huge distress. That's what hoarding is. I have had several vlog sales on this channel. I'm about to have a huge vlog sale on this channel to move some of my collection out because my lifestyle is changing. I no longer have children who need as much as they used to. I don't need to carry as much as I used to. My tastes are evolving and changing. I've bought a lot of exotics and higher end handbags recently. So a lot of my lower pieces, I'm starting to make peace with the fact that I don't need them in my collection anymore. And I'm pinpointing, I'm talking like I could honestly move on maybe 30 or 40 handbags from my collection. Now I have a collection of over 400 handbags, so that's certainly not going to leave me with, you know, a small collection. But for me to get to that point in my life where I'm like, it's time to move pieces on, because I would be, to keep them at this point, it would be hoarding. I know that I'm not going to use them. I know that they don't have huge emotional attachment for me. They're not hugely sentimental. A lot of them were usable at the time I bought them because I was still carting around small children. I needed hands-free bags. I needed bags that carried a lot. I needed bags that were more functional. I'm moving into a different phase of my life, and it's time to make some hard decisions, well, they're hard for me, about what direction I want my collection to go in. Because it is a collection. Because I am ready to move it on. Because I can make those decisions where I go, okay, it's time. I don't need this anymore. I can sell it, find it a new home, and I'm okay with that. It does take a lot for me to get to that point because I do feel this need to keep my collection together. But the fact that I'm rational enough to make these decisions where I will think about it for a while and go, okay, my collection no longer needs to be what it used to be. I am okay with going through and pulling out those pieces that I know don't hold huge emotional attachment to me. I know that I no longer need for usability purposes. And it's time for them to find a new home. And that allows my collection to continue to evolve, and I can bring in new pieces that meet the current requirements for my collection, which is at the moment, seems to be, a whole heap of exotics and higher end pieces. So if evolution is not bad, evolution is incredibly important, and it's important as a person to evolve and your tastes evolve. Now I know and it's also a double-edged sword for me. So I get called a hoarder if I keep all these things, but as soon as I sell them off, people will go, oh, now you're selling them off. You just bought them to unbox them. So there is no winning. There is never any winning in YouTube land. You can't win. You just have to do you and hope that the majority of your audience sees you for who you are. And you just, the others in the background, the ones who make the nasty comments, they should just be white noise. And I will admit at the moment I'm having a harder time with the white noise because my mental health is not in a great spot at the moment. I've got a lot going on in my personal life, especially at work, and I'm finding the white noise isn't white noise. It's very loud in my head. So my mental health is not great at the moment, which is probably why it's getting to me more than it usually would. Usually when my mental health is solid, I'm just like, I don't care. I don't care what people think. But when you're already having, you're already living in a dark hole, it gets very hard to kind of just block that out. So that's probably why this video is being made now, because it's getting to me more than it usually would. But I have been wanting to do this video for a while because I think it's important to address the difference between hoarding and collecting, because it comes up so often on my channel. So yeah, I don't believe I am a hoarder. I often refer to myself as an emotional hoarder, and someone's like, well, what's the difference? You're an emotional hoarder, but then you say you're a collector over here. True. So to give you the juxtaposition for that, so my collecting is very organized. When I talk about being an emotional hoarder, I have every single greeting card I have ever been given in my entire life. And I'm 43 years old. So I have Christmas cards that my classmates in kindergarten gave me. They're sitting in my office in a box. Do I pull them out? No. Are they highly organized? Absolutely not. Can I get rid of them? No. I can't let them go because they hold sentimental attachment for me, and I can't throw them out. I don't know why. I can't bring myself to do it. But I don't collect them, and I don't love them enough to organize them. So really that is hoarding on a certain level. But I only do it with things that I have an emotional or sentimental attachment to. Every single card I've ever been given, anytime I get flowers and it comes with a card, anytime I get an invitation to an event, anytime anyone gives me anything that they didn't have to handwrite it, but it displayed a thought that they had of me. Like, even if it was like, hey Meredith, here's some flowers, happy birthday, they thought of me in that moment, so I keep it. I have a hard time letting go of my children's artwork, and my kids are like 7 and 5. Those of you who are parents, you get it. Like, they went through daycare and preschool, and how much artwork did they bring home? Like, ridiculous amounts, and I couldn't throw any of it out. My husband had to do that for me. We had this huge tub of stuff, and I just kept shoving things in there. Anytime they'd quickly draw a picture, they don't care about it anymore, but I couldn't bring myself to throw it out. So my husband basically took the tub out and said, that's it, we're done. They are 5 and 7. You cannot continue to do this. They will continue to bring home stuff till the end of school. You can't keep it all. So we're going to go through it, and we're going to sit and look at it, and then we're going to make decisions. So he helped me cull that because I couldn't do it on my own. And now, what I've got left sits in a very small tub. But I couldn't bring myself to do that because I am an emotional hoarder, and I am more than happy to admit that. I have no problems admitting that I do hoard things that hold sentimental attachment for me. Is it healthy? Probably not. Is it space consuming? Yes, it is. And my husband hates it when we move house and he has to move all my stuff. He's like, can we throw this out? I'm like, no, we can't. Like, right down to, I have a box in my cupboard of letters my friends and I in school passed between each other. So like, just random stuff. For a while there, we would sit in class and handwrite letters on paper, and then you'd fold them in a very specific way, and you'd hand them off to someone like between periods, and they'd read it, and the next one they'd write it back to you. And I have a whole box of those. Just teenage ramblings about nothing. And I can't bring myself to throw them out because they invoke those memories of high school for me. And I'm sure if I sat down with my friends now and read through them, we'd all be horrified by what we wrote. But they hold memories for me, so I can't throw them out. There's no reason to keep them, but I can't throw them out. My grandmother's china. My husband's like, can we use it? No. But we've got to keep it. Yeah. But we can't use it. No. So why do we keep it? Because we do. And I understand that that's incredibly irrational. I really do understand that. But that's my vice. That sentimental, emotional attachment, that's my vice. That's where I hoard. My collection is not that. My collection is a true collection. I love my collection. I build my collection. I change my collection. My collection evolves with me. It is a collection. It's not high-end hoarding. They're very different things. And if you want to call it high-end hoarding, then that's fine, but it is not accurate in its description. So I really wanted to make that distinction. It is okay to have collections. It's fine. I encourage people to have collections. I think it's a great way to spend your time. I would highly encourage you to do something less expensive than my collection. But collections personal for people. I remember the very first house I ever bought. I walked into it. I was 25 years old. I was buying a house. My parents came with me to look at it, and we walked into this house and I loved it. This woman had a stuffed bear, like stuffed animal collection. So I walked in, and on the stairs on the way up to the second story, there was a stuffed animal or a frog. Were they frogs on every single step? And these were not wide stairs, but that's where she had them all. And then I walked into the very first bedroom, which was not the master. It was like one of the smaller bedrooms. I used it as an office when I moved in. And it was floor to ceiling stuffed animals. And that was her collection. That's what brought her joy. Now, if you had just met her on the street, if you worked with her, if like you were just someone who knew her in passing, you probably had no idea what her collection was. It didn't form who she was as a person. It wouldn't have skewed your understanding of her or your thought of her or her being a good person. That's just what brought her joy and what she had in her house. And my mother was walking around going, "Don't look at it. It goes with her." And it was very hard to see past the wall of bears, but I could, and I loved the house. And when I moved in, it looked very different. And she took her collection that she loved with her. But it didn't change who she was as a person. If you met me in the street, if you met me in my role that I do with my company, if you met me outside of YouTube, you would have no idea that I had this collection. It doesn't form who I am to other people. It only means something to me. And that's okay. People have collections of Lego, and I have one of those as well. We have, like, there's people who collect stamps, there's people that collect spoons, there's people that collect Pokemon. There are people with crazy huge collections of things, and for the most part, those people, to the everyday naked eye when you meet them, are completely normal. There's something in their world that brings them joy, and that's okay. And they know their collection, and they display their collection, and their collection means something to them. They are collectors. They're not hoarders. Hoarders have a whole TV show built around them. You want to see a hoarder? I'm pretty sure America has a TV show called Hoarders. They're hoarders. They're people who can't throw things out. Hoarders will hoard regardless of what it is, what it costs, it doesn't have an emotional attachment to it. They're just hoarders. They just have stuff because they have a mental disorder that does not allow them to throw anything out. Collectors don't have that. Collectors can move things on. Collectors can move things in and out. But I also make the point that collectors don't have, something doesn't move from collecting to hoarding based on price. Like, people who like to say luxury hoarding or high-end hoarding, it's not. Like, just because it costs a lot of money doesn't change what it is, which is still collecting. It doesn't matter if you want to collect things that are 20 cents. Doesn't matter if you want to collect things that are worth, a few $100s. It doesn't matter if you collect things that are worth thousands of dollars. People collect art. Art can go for millions of dollars. So a collection is a collection is a collection. A collector is a collector. It's very, very different to hoarding. So if you want to collect things, go and collect things. You don't need an excuse to do it. If something brings you joy and it brings you joy in multiples, like having multiples of something, that's a collection. A collection can be 3 things. It can be 300 things. There are no rules around collecting. Sometimes collections start because somebody else starts it for you. You get something from your grandmother and you go, "Oh my goodness, I love this butterfly crystal thing." And suddenly you've got 700 of them because your grandmother cottoned onto that, and then the family got wind of it, and now you've got butterflies for days. You didn't mean that collection to happen, but it happened for you, which is probably different to the collection that you decided to do yourself. And I've had both those things. I've had things that have run away from me. In my teenage years, where I went, "Oh, I really love that," and suddenly I have all of that. But this collection, my handbag collection, this is something that I chose to do and I continue to do. I hope that I will always have it. I hope that I will always be able to have a collection that I love. and that will evolve with me as a person as I get older. There are certainly pieces that I have that are true collector's pieces for me, that I see as true collector's pieces that I will never sell, regardless of whether I choose to use them or not. They are collector's pieces. But there are definitely pieces that I'm ready to go, okay, it's time. It's time to cull the herd, so to speak, and go, I have changed as a person. My collection needs to change with me. These pieces need to go, and I will look at bringing in other pieces instead. And because I'm evolving, those pieces that I bring in might not be the hauls that you've seen previously, because instead I'm buying higher end pieces. I'm changing. I'm human. This is who I am. And I am a collector, so my collection changes with me. I hope this has really given people some clarity around the difference between hoarding and collecting and how I see my world. And it is my opinion, it is my world, and I do see it through my own eyes. So I appreciate that not everybody sees the world as I do. I appreciate people have different circumstances and different ways of looking at things. But at the most basic level, when we look at the definitions of hoarding versus collecting, I am a collector. In this realm, in this luxury realm, I am a collector. I am not a hoarder. So I'm sorry if that disappoints some of you who like to throw that at me every now and again, but the fact remains I am a collector, and I want to be able to show my collection because I love it. And I really enjoy curating it. As much as I hate that word, curating, I have come to realize that what I am doing by evolving and changing it and moving things out and bringing new things in is curating it. It's not, curating doesn't just need to be I'm going to thin it out or get rid of things. Curating can mean I'm choosing to lose things to bring in other things that now suit my lifestyle. So as much as I've always pushed back on the term curating, yes, I'm curating my collection. And I think that's really going to be the theme around the second half of my year. The unboxings will still be here. My channel will still be the same, but you might see some evolution happening and some curating. And there will be a big vlog sale coming because there are some bags that are ready to go. I am ready to make some decisions around that and bring in new things instead. So yeah, I hope this video has been useful, helpful, entertaining at the very least. If you've liked today's video, please give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button down below. It means a lot to a content creator when you hit that subscribe button. Please also hit the little bell notification so you know when I upload videos, which is usually twice a week. I'll also throw up my Instagram handle for you so you can follow me over there. I put lots up in real time, lots around my collection and my day-to-day life, so please come follow me over there. I hope wherever you are in the world today, you are having a fabulous day, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye guys.